No, Carrie, you're not blocked. Facebook's been having some problems. Just ignore it or go on Spreely, or you actually we're not on Spreely, so you can go on Rumble, YouTube, etc. I'm trying to get all this set up. New morning style show, kind of a new angle and stuff. So I'm working everything out. So hang tight. We're going.
Do you want the truth? Are you tired of being so confused? You feel like you're more f***ed up than the lies on the evening news. Well, just step right in. We can talk about it all as friends. And if you want, we can hug and kiss and make up for the party ends. Agree or disagree. Start our friend.
Still Point, STIILPOINT, the Don't Unfriend Me band. What are we doing? Something a little bit different. Because I have chronic carpal tunnel in my wrists, and that's from doing weights and a lot of other things. And it's just something that's come up. So the reason why is because I've been sitting at a desk like this for 3 years, and it finally has caught up with me. So I'm just going to a full standing desk until I do the evening show, and I'm just going to stand while I work, and therefore I put no pressure on my wrists, and it's also good for the body and keeps you healthy. This is a different angle. You haven't seen me at this angle, so everyone's like, oh, wow, Matt looks different. That's because you've been seeing me in a two-dimensional way for a lot of the time. So this is kind of a new thing. So here's the deal. This is the painting I've referred to quite often in regards to my uncle's painting that he had, which has the A4 Skyhawks coming off the deck of the USS Enterprise, which is strange because we had been estranged for close to, 20, 25, 30 years. And I haven't, longer than that. I hadn't seen him almost in 29, almost 30 years, actually. Yeah. So 30, yeah, that's about that. Maybe a little bit longer, 35, 32, 33, whatever. Doesn't matter. But the point is, he had that painting and loved that painting, and something that he had in his home. And that was my flagship. So, well, the flagship was the LCC. That was the Admiral's barge, but it was Com 7th Fleet, and the USS Enterprise in Yokosuka, Japan, was the carrier of the fleet. So it was kind of fortuitous. So when I saw it, I immediately recognized it. I'm like, oh my God, it's USS Enterprise. And he's like, you know the Enterprise? And went through a conversation about what I did in the military, which he had no idea. And that kind of started rekindling our relationship, which was estranged. Anyway, so that's this angle. You can see most people have not seen this painting in the room, and it's one of my favorites. It's pretty cool. It doesn't do it justice under these lighting conditions. Listen, I did a show last night, 2 hours, and addressed the bridge collapse, and it's really gonna be hard because, see, I've got my monitor down here, which I can no longer use, so I've got my Mac, and it's a big Mac without pickles and lettuce, but it doesn't necessarily give me my range to bring in videos and things to that effect, so you're gonna have to bear with me. Unfortunately, this is the way it's gonna be this morning until I can figure out how to make this a more fluid experience for everybody. But nonetheless, we will make it work and try to do it correctly. Maybe. Let me find out what window this is. Secondary display. That's not helping. Secondary display. Give me there we go. Okay, so let's open up that sucker. Okay, now we're cooking with some fuel here. All right, so we'll just put this in the lower quadrant, and we'll send it to the back so we can have our Spreely logo. Okay, so that will take care of. Yeah, no, it won't. Hold on, folks. This is an impromptu show. What do you expect? Shrink the size of that. No. No. We will shrink the sides of that. Okay. Now that helps us put everything in perspective. So I made a post this morning in regards to just a picture. Good morning, Renee. First of all, let's say hi to everybody. We got to romper room this mofo. I apologize. Everyone's like, why is he on? Because we crushed it last night. We had like 350 people on, and the show's growing. I don't know why. They took away my rights manager, and all of a sudden my live is crushing. So good morning, Matt. Good morning, Carrie. Don't worry if you can't see chat. It's something going on. I will go in and take a look and try to see if there's anything on our end. But this is Facebook. Hi, Amy. Deborah. Well, this is a treat. I'm home for the flu, so let's get this party started. Yeah, let's do that, shall we? Deborah. Morning, Stacy from Kentucky. No comment showing this morning. I'm sorry, Debbie. Stacy, wonderful to see you. Michelle, beautiful painting. Thomas, what's up? Yeah, you guys have to. You got to push last night's show. It's by far one of the. I'm going to cut it into an episode today because Good morning, Joanne. Wonderful to see you here. Bubba, what's up? You have to get the link to last night's live show because I'm so tired of this bullshit. Like, it's almost like there's two different types of parties now. There is well, there's more than two. But it doesn't, when people go, hey, Democrats and Republicans, they're the same wing of the same, or they're a different wing of the same bird. I've always liked that saying because I've always felt that it kind of encapsulates the truth. Not anymore. You've got tail feathers now, and these are the people who are on the ass end of the bird, and most of their information is on the ass end of the bird, and it's fortuitous because that's where most of their information should be remained, is in the ass of the bird. However, they feel the necessity to have the wings and the tail feathers work independently of each other and raise their tail feathers and projectile diarrhea and espouse their ideas, and with no fact. None. And this isn't just the left. This is the right. General Flynn. Lara Logan. What? Lara Logan is now... I've always known she was a little meh, but this... And I've got viewers who I appreciate and like driving me up the fucking wall this morning. Listen, I understand everybody doesn't watch the live show. I understand we've got 200,000 people. I understand we've had 3 million interactions. No shit in the last 36 hours on the Facebook pages. I understand the news is getting big. I understand all of these things, and you don't have the time to consume. But you can't come onto this page and just make shit up and go, I'm just making comments. This is my freedom of speech. No, it's not. Let me explain how freedom of speech works, just so you understand. Freedom of speech doesn't mean you get to come in and say whatever you fuck you want. Pardon my French. I'm a little froggy. I apologize. Let me dial it back. You don't get to come in and say anything you want unopposed. That's not free speech. What you want is unchallenged speech, and that isn't free. Unchallenged speech is what tyrannical governments do, where they will say something and you will accept it, and if you don't, you will be shot, you will be tarred and feathered, you will be quartered, you will be shoved in Siberia, or you will just disappear. That is not free speech. Free speech isn't, I can go on Facebook and say anything I want to anyone, and if they censor me and tell me I can't say those things, that's not free speech. That's not true. Facebook has a right to run their site the way they want in the terms and conditions that you approve by participating in this site. Now, if you want to do fair use, if you want to talk about fair practice law, and you want to say that you pay them a fee and they're treating you differently, well, that's a completely different situation. Hence why Twitter, known now as X, if you pay for your blue check mark, you pretty much can say whatever the you want. And the reason why is because you're paying for that service. If you pay for the full blue check mark, you are stopping all ads, which means that the advertisers don't get to crawl your site. So therefore, if you want to espouse that Jews are the devil, which plenty of assholes are doing on Twitter, you can do that because you're paying for a service to be a dick. If you want to do it on Facebook, you don't get to do that. And the reason why is because you sign the terms and conditions, and it is an exchange of your personal information and them crawling what you post so they can sell you to advertisers, and you've agreed to do so. That is a business model. Now, the moment where Facebook can get in trouble is when Facebook decides to go ahead and stop certain voices and not others. And this is where they become a content publisher, a creator, and a producer versus a publisher. Publisher takes content like this and says, hey, here you go. And you go, thank you. Facebook doesn't do anything except show it to everyone else. That is a content publisher. A producer goes, let me see your content. Oh, no, we can't do that. Take it back. There's a difference. So when you come on my page, let me explain the expectation. It's real simple. You're going to either say, and you don't have to say this at all. It's up to you. Let me tell you a good time on the page of the Don't Unfriend Me show, or the Dumb News, or going anywhere that I have the @ stamp and it's me. You come on and you can do a few things. The first thing you can do is say, in my opinion, and then everything you say after that, I don't care. I don't care from two ways. One is I don't care what it says because it's all emotional diatribe. And the second thing is I'm not going to challenge you because it's an opinion. And you get all the opinion you want for free. It's a buffet of opinion. You can go back as many times as you want. You can stack the plate. You can even take a to-go container of opinion, and I don't care. No big deal. That is your right to have an opinion, and unaccosted opinion is what you get. I can't tell you what the other people will do, but I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll just leave it alone. Now, the moment you say, I know, this is fact, I'm certain, I heard from this person, therefore it's true, you are no longer in the realms of unaccosted speech. You are espousing that something is real. You're saying it's fact. You're saying, I have empirical data, because in the Latin, that is what fact it derives from, as factual. It's the derivative of the word of fiction and fictitious. It's either nonfiction or fiction. It's either real or fake. It's either empirical or it's not. That is the difference between fact, which is evidence, and non-factual garbage. And when you say, look at the explosions in that video of the bridge falling down, do you know what you're doing? You're lying. You have no evidence of that. There is audio of what is happening. There is a distress call that takes place. There's no explosions. There's witnesses. There are hundreds of witnesses, eyewitnesses who saw this. There are people who live there. There was absolutely no explosions whatsoever. There was no thermite. There was no det cord. There was no TNT. There were 6 people working on the bridge. Yes. And most of them are dead. Oh, well, they're suiciders. They knew what was going to happen. Is that why the captain said there's guys working on the bridge? You need to get them off? Because there were no cars that went in. There were people working on the bridge. Because a bridge of that size, 1.5 miles long, has a constant work done to it 365 days, 365 days a year, 7 days a week, 24 hours a day. Just like the Golden Gate Bridge. I don't know if you know this, how many times it's been painted, but when they start on one end, by the time they get done, they got to go back and start again because it's already fading. Why? Well, because California's a shithole. So when we sit here and pretend that because you listen to General Flynn and he goes, this is a black swan event. First of all, a black swan event doesn't mean some clandestine operation that takes place. It means an abnormality, a stitch in time, if you will. And most retailers use black swan event. Let me give you an example. For example, Flags of Valor, great company. Don't have any flags anymore of them. Actually, I do. I have a Texas flag over there, but great company, Brian Storks. If you haven't been over to Flags of Valor, go over there, flagsofvalor.com. They're good guys. Also, you can go to Percival Flag Company, pfcflag.com. Also great. So I've got both. Here's the thing. When I came into work, and I'm not going to release anything, secret here or whatever. When I came into work for them, they hired me, and I was supposed to annualize revenue, which means I am supposed to increase revenue by a certain amount of dollars based upon a certain amount of advertising, based upon a certain amount of overhead, based upon a certain amount of margin and PPA average of people making a purchase. So I've got to increase all these KPI indicators in order to get more revenue drive into the company. So the thing is that I was annualizing against a Black Swan event. They were on David Muir and NBC, Dateline, Nightline, whatever it was. And then they also got on with Fox News. These Black Swans events gave them X amount of revenue, which is an incredible amount. And if I can't replicate that Black Swan event in that year or subsidize it with an increase in margin, an increase in overall productivity or unit sales, I am going to not be able to annualize my revenue for the year. Pretty simple, right? Great. That's a Black Swan event. Now, if he wants to say like a black bag operation or a false flag, a cover story, a false narrative, I understand what he's trying to say. But General Flynn has absolutely no basis to say any of it because it's simply just in the ether. Watch, I'll do it. Are you ready? It's real simple. Here it is. Folks, the bridge collapsing in Maryland was the same ship that the Houthis took over several months ago, and they painted it. They changed all the logos, and it was a Houthi attack from Yemen that did it. You've heard it here first. Get the word out. Buy my shirts and coffee too. The Houthis attacked the United States. We must seek retribution. This was a blatant and vile attack on the sovereignty of our country from the Houthi rebels who painted a ship to look just like the one that you thought you saw last night, smash into the Francis Scott Key Bridge. They painted it. Never mind that other ship was the completely different type of... No, stop. It's been retrofitted by the Jews. The Jews went ahead and fit it with microbots. They are a new type of artificial intelligence made of carbon fiber and other things from alien technology that we found in Area 51. These microbots can literally surge against the tide, transform metal like Magneto, and they retrofitted in less than 7 days. Get the word out. We are under attack from the Houthis. And Jeffrey Epstein funded it. He's not dead. He's had nanobots. They protected his neck. Yeah, he didn't die. They transformed the cell and let him out, and then built him a car, and he flew to the moon. To the fucking moon, people. Where the secret base is, where the Nazis went after the Third Reich. Boom, bitch. Boom. This is how this works. Oh, yeah, and P. Diddy flew him. That's right. This is how this works. You're like, oh, you're being stupid. You're being, am I? Am I being stupid? Is that what I'm being? Is that, yes. Yes, I absolutely am. And so are the people you're listening to. So are the people. That is what you guys sound like. That's what you sound like. And you're like, we don't do that. Really? Yes, you do. Because I read it every morning. This is what I've heard this morning, that it was an attack by Russia, that it was a plot by Ukraine in order to get more funding. I've heard it was an attempt to go ahead and draw the bridge down in order to stop toxic waste, fuel, and harmful chemical distribution, that it will take 3 to 5 years to reproduce that bridge in the state that it was, and therefore it's going to allow them to strike us and hit our fuel dumps in order to poison the water and kill us a lot easier with a terrorist attack. I've heard it's illegal immigrants. I have heard that it is Hezbollah. I have heard that it's Jews working with the Zionists in order to take over the United States. I've heard it's Russian hackers and Chinese hackers. I have heard that they use direct energy weapons to blow up the bridge. I've heard that it's explosives. What shit have you heard? What have you heard? Anything close to that? So why is mine far-fetched? That Houthi rebels who hijacked the in the Red Sea and hijacked that Israeli/Japanese tanker. Remember that? Covered that? That they painted it and they put it in the harbor and they took out the bridge. It's the CIA and FBI. There it is. It's the CIA and FBI. There we go. Just got a comment on it. So I'll put it up for you. It's the CIA and FBI. And I don't know if George is being funny. Maybe George is being funny. It's the CIA and FBI. How do we know? Because trust me, bro. That's why. Hold on. Where did it go? Hold on. People are like, what are you smoking this morning? Nothing. I'm in a great mood. Yeah, I don't have my donation link. That's okay. We'll suck it up, won't we? All right, let's read this. Let's go through this. It's the FBI. Are you going to tell us something? Yeah, I'm going to tell you that people are completely ridiculous. I told you something for 2 hours last night. I told you something at 4:42 in the morning when I was one of the first people to report this. I was one of the first people to give you an article on this that had all the video breakdown. I'm looking at in the lower part of the screen right there. I've already told you everything I can. I just can't make people eat it. I can lead you to it. I'm telling you something right now. I'm telling you, stop making shit up. That's what I'm saying, James. And I'm not saying you're saying it, James. I'm just telling you. What am I saying? I'm saying stop making shit up. When you don't have the answers, it's not okay to make shit up. So here's what I'm going to tell you, since you're so eager to hear it. I mean, I've already told you a lot. Lara Logan, this is going around. This has gone viral. This cacophony of shit. Nice to see so many people liking the page tonight. Thank you. 188,051. If you really want to like the page, help the page, you can go over to linktapgo/thedumbshow. The mods are going to help us out by putting it in chat. You can help donate to the site if you like it, love what you're hearing. If you don't love what you're hearing, it's probably because you're a conspiracy theorist. All right. No joke, George says. It's no joke. CIA and FBI. Really? So let me ask you a question. Just for instance. To what end the CIA and FBI? Why the CIA and FBI? Why do you feel that the FBI has the capability to do something of this magnitude? I can understand the CIA, but why? And please tell me, if it was the CIA and FBI, then why did the crew call Mayday? And why did they say to get those people off the bridge? Why did they stop the vehicles? Why did they do it at 4 in the morning? Why between 1 and 4 in the morning? Why? Because it was high tide? So they were conscientious of their load. They were conscientious of the overall shadow that vehicle casts, that vessel casts. So not only did they do everything perfectly correct, they waited until they offloaded. They waited till they were pretty much empty and just carrying empty containers. And why wouldn't they go after the harbor, where they could have done millions upon millions upon millions of dollars of damage with that vessel and killed thousands of people by simply waiting 6 hours? Please tell me why. Please tell me. The pilots, where were the tugboats? They were already out of the harbor. See, it's only so much that you can do before you just have to say, all right, let me get this. Once again, I apologize. New setup this morning. Desktop. Let me see. Let me do it over here. There you go. All right. Real simple, folks. Here's the mouse. See the mouse? Do you see this? This is the harbor. Here. They already went under and out of the harbor. Tugs already pushed it out. Harbor master already cleared the ship. The vessel was already moving to open sea once it went past this and this channel marker down here. There's no conspiracy. What you have are people who actually pretend like they know what they're talking about and telling you things that aren't accurate. And how do I know this? It's pretty simple. Because you had an interview with 2 different captains that I gave you last night. You had a maritime and naval. I got to go be careful of exactly what this person did. A person who was in the military for quite a long time and worked in intelligence, but also worked with navigating extremely large vessels through harbors such as these, through channels such as these, through canals such as these, with bridge underpasses, with segmented wall canal passes, with inclement weather conditions, tell you the exact same thing I told you. You had 4 interviews with police officers that confirmed all the stories that you've heard thus far. You have had 1 FEMA representative, and you have also had a person from NTSB in the article that I wrote yesterday, firsthand accounts. Here's the Laura post that's been going around. Nope, try harder. Yeah, I don't know what that means. Everyone help me. If people are saying charges are on the pylon. Oh, Karen, you're the one. You're the reason I came on today, Karen. Karen, dial into the show, please. Someone give her the number. Karen, I'm going to give you the Skype number. You're going to call in the show, and we're going to talk about the charges on the pylon. You're going to call in. I can't wait to talk to you. I'm so happy that you have decided to grace our presence, because you're saying that there's charges on the pylon. Let me do Laura's thing first, and then we can talk about charges on the pylon, because I want her to call in. Someone provide her the number, please, and the dial-in. We'll get you a free T-shirt or something like that. Laura says from her tweet, multiple intel sources. Now, is it possible that Laura Logan has better sources than I do? I'm pretty sure she does. In fact, I'm absolutely positive she does. Baltimore Bridge collapse was an absolute brilliant strategic attack on U.S. critical infrastructure. Critical? Critical. No. No, water is critical. Energy is critical. A bridge, it's a nuisance, because all you got to do is go 5 miles north and then go across another bridge. Give me a break. a horrible nuisance. $15 million a day. That sucks. That sucks. For Maryland, that sucks. It's going to be a pain in the ass for a while. Is it going to get built? Yes. Is it going to be faster than 5 years? Yes. Is it an inconvenience? Yes. Is it going to be easier just to go ahead and move the offloading and onloading on the actual eastern side? That's what's going to happen. Is it going to delay things for a little bit? Is it going to be critical for the rest of eternity? No. So give me a break. Give me a break. I need my overhead light. That's what happens when you go blind. On U.S. critical infrastructure, more than likely cyber. Wait a second. What type of intel sources do you have when it's more than likely? I've worked in intelligence for 14 years. Leroy has worked in intelligence for 25. Mel, I don't even know how long. Michael, I can't even tell you because he's currently active. Please tell me this. Yes, the phone lines are open. Post the number. I'm waiting for the phone call. I want the explosion technical expert. I want the demo, the EOD person to call. I have never seen ever in any intelligence brief in my life, more than likely. I've never seen those words in my life. Because if there is any doubt, it's not likely. If there's any doubt, it's not presented. And if it is, it's saved until somebody says, speak freely, or I want your opinion. I want your gut. I want your best guess. Then you can go into more than likely. Otherwise, stick to the facts. Never, ever in my career have I seen a brief. Have I been debriefed? Have I done any analysis or heard any analysis on any strike team, on any imaging team, on doing daily briefings for SecDef, which I've done? Have I ever heard more than likely? Never. So immediately I'm like, this is bullshit. This is just bullshit. He doesn't have anything to do with it. Don, I don't know what you're talking about. Somebody help me. If somebody says anything, Amy, call me and be like, hey, this person's saying, I don't have Olivia today. I can't read this. Timothy, you're not allowed to see comments because Facebook's doing its thing. All right, let's get to this. Our intel agencies know it. Well, I'll be honest with you. She may have some intelligence agency clout that I don't, but as of right now, I have not heard anything. As of last night or today, any scuttlebutt from any of my sources, and I've got a shit ton. And if you want them, I'll give them to you. I'll lay them on out for you. I'll just roll them out on the table. Of any intel agency on alert. I haven't heard any message traffic. I haven't heard any flash traffic. I haven't heard any friends. There's no troop movements. I haven't heard about retasking satellites. I haven't heard about moving any carriers off the coast to go ahead and intercept any other vessels. I haven't heard any shutdown of vessels because if it was an attack, every vessel in North America would be grounded and anchored. If there was an imminent attack of any kind, every vessel within 300 miles of North America would be anchored. And if it came within any distance of the United States, it would be hailed, it would be quartered, or it would be sunk. Oh, I didn't think of that. Oh, yeah, well, I guess that makes sense. But it's still Jeffrey Epstein who's doing it. Give me a break, people. There's an imminent threat on the United States. Oh, well, let's just go back as business as usual. The intel agencies know it. Yeah, I know. In information warfare terms, they just divided the U.S. along the Mason-Dixon line exactly like the Civil War? What? What the fuck does that have to do with anything? Are we in the days of horse and buggy? Do we still not have the ability to airlift supply? Do we still not have other ports and other channels that we can redirect this workload to? Do we not have a bridge 5 miles north that can also perform the same functions? Can we simply not relocate the harbor side and rebuild that so we can go ahead and load on the east side and the west side and simultaneously? Oh, gee, shucks, man, they got our mule. What are we going to do? Some bitch. They divided us across the Mason-Dixon. Fuck them Yankees. I declare Civil War 2.0. That's it. We're done. We fought it over free labor. Now we're going to fight it over free trade. Instead of tea, they put tankers. They put a bridge in the water. That's it. We're done. Collapsation without representation. What the fuck is she talking about? Can't do this morning. I swear, I knew it was going to be an Excedrin PM morning. I just fucking knew it. Why can't people... The Mason-Dixon line. Kevin McWhorter, the South will rise again. He gets a free shirt. Amy, get his name. Get him a shirt. Get him a shirt. Oh, God. I love it. Okay, hold on. I'm sorry. It's the South will rise again. Genius. All right. Second busiest strategic roadway in the nation for hazardous material. Okay, so that's a little misleading. It most certainly is the second most busiest roadway for hazardous material. That's a pretty big deal, right? But really? No. I mean, it sounds like a big deal. It's the second busiest roadway for hazardous material. But it's not like it's the second busiest roadway for overall agriculture or food or distributing energy, or it's not a pipeline. It's not life-preserving medication. It's hazmat. So what do? You just go 5 miles north, and that's what they're going to do. Or you build a harbor on the east side. You just adapt and overcome, folks. Is this a big deal? Yeah, I'm not saying this bridge going down isn't a big deal. I'm not saying that. But this isn't a 7 or 32 lane bridge. This isn't the most gigantic, ginormous, heavily traveled bridge in America. It's busy. You're going to have to circumvent the bridge. But to make it sound, because hazmat's involved, that somehow it makes any sense. What are they doing? Poisoning the Atlantic? There's no waterways or rivers or anything else that are going to be impacted by this. It doesn't make any sense. You're simply throwing it in there because it sounds good. Second busiest hazmat road in the United States. 4 to 5 years, which is how long they say it will take to recover. Recover? It's going to take 2 decades to recover. This is going to be a very large financial constraint and an inconvenience for everyone who lives on both sides of that waterway. Okay? Oh, who's leaving? Emma? Ooh, let me see. Emma. Where's Emma? Emma. The way you are being so hateful to people is why I don't care. Emma, lying is hateful. If this bothers you, it's because you're one of the people who are feeding this shit to people. Why doesn't it bother you more that people are lying? Why don't you dislike that more than me just calling it out? Emma, don't leave. Because I'll never I love when people say, you kind of started doing this. I've been doing this for 3 years. Nothing's changed. Nothing has changed. I'm the same girl living in a material world. You just don't like that I'm calling out the right as much as I call out the left. That's what bothers people. It's not how I say it, it's who I say it to. Because that's the problem. How long will it take to clear the shipping channel? You just got to repair the vessel. The vessel's seaworthy. You saw the drone footage go over today. There was no major hull integrity damage. There was no major engine damage. You just got to replace whatever happened with the steering. You got to make sure the power is obviously stable. You're going to have to repair whatever was wrong with it, hydraulics, et cetera, and then you just go ahead and tug it out of there. I mean, even if it doesn't have any hydraulics and doesn't have any steering, you just tug it out of there. You got to clear obviously all the obstruction. But anyway, I want to get back to Emma. Emma, nothing's changed. I am the same guy I've always been. You just don't like who I'm calling out. I'm not agreeing with the narrative, and that bothers you, and that's fine. I'm not being hateful. I'm being condescending, and I'm mocking people. Very big difference. I don't consider that to be hateful. How would you? I tried for 2 hours last night to do a show to explain it to everybody in the kindest, most nicest way possible. I didn't degrade. I didn't mock. Now I am. At this point, I've reached the people who need to be reached, and now I'm reaching an audience that I really don't care if they like what I'm saying or not. Do you know why that's nice? Because at least you know I'm not bought and paid for. At least you know I'm not going to change what I say based upon an ad revenue or T-shirt sales or what Turning Point USA tells me. And I may never, ever get to where I want to be with this show because of it. And that's okay. I don't care. I really don't. I don't sit up at night and go, geez, I wish I was on Turning Point. I wish I had people prescribe for me what to say. I wish they used me like they used Kyle Rittenhouse. I wish they would go ahead and hire people on the Blaze who are anti-Semitic and hate women and go around and degrade people simply because they don't agree on the same policies. I wish I could work for the Young Turks that all they do is just petulantly scream and yell at the frickin' TV and don't say anything. I wish I could. No, I don't. I don't. I don't at all. All right. So here we go. Sorry, Emma. Bridge was built specifically to move hazardous material. Yes, it absolutely was a causeway for 2 different states and 2 different major production facilities to transfer hazardous material. Bridge material, fuel, diesel, propane, gas, nitrogen, highly flammable materials, chemicals, oversized cargo that cannot fit in the tunnels. That supply chain now crippled. It's not crippled. It's severely limping, for sure. Make no mistake, this was an extraordinary attack in terms of planning, timing, and execution. I still don't have a culprit. I still don't have any evidence whatsoever that demonstrates that this is a foreign government or a hostile action from the United States against its own people. I'm still waiting for that. The 2 critical components. Okay, here we go. Here. Now we're going to get to the heart of this. The 2 critical components on that bridge are the 2 load-bearing pylons on the end, which I showed you last night. That's absolutely correct. If one of those goes, the whole bridge goes, as we saw. They are bigger, thicker, and deeper than anything else. These are the anchor points, and they knew that hitting either one of them would have a fatal wound to the integrity of the bridge. Who knew? Who knew that? Which demos did you run? Which tests did you run? How many times has this happened before in U.S. history? How many times has this happened in world history? Can anyone tell me how many other times this has happened? I can give you every single accident or cataclysmic contact, impact, accident like this that has happened, and I can count them on 3 fingers. How many can you count? Read the article. It'll tell you all about it. Brenda says, I appreciate you explaining things. I was on the conspiracy side because I know nothing about ports and ships, and now it all works. It's easy to believe anything when you take an unfamiliar with subject matter. Thank you for opening my eyes. Brenda, that's exactly what I'm trying to do. It's not hateful. I'm not trying to hurt you. I'm trying to shock your system so where you go either, you know what, screw this. I don't want to be a part of this show anymore. I hate this guy. He makes me feel, okay, great, bye. Or, you know what, wait a second. I'm going to stop doing this. I'm going to stop listening to everything and be selective. And once I disprove a source, I'm never going back. See, here's the thing. I will never listen to Lara Logan ever again, no matter what she says. because her credibility is completely shot. It's shot. I'll read her stuff and then say why it's stupid. But once somebody lies to you, why would you ever go back to that well? Once somebody makes something up, and the only thing I'm doing is telling you why it's not true. I'm not telling you exactly. I'm not ruling it out. I'm not saying, okay, is it possible that somebody went ahead and got a hold of the steering, went through their computer, hijacked the computer, and ran it into a support pylon? Yes, it's possible. But so is lunar space travel. So is the fact that it is possible that black holes are time portals into the continuum. There's a lot of things that are possible, but we don't work in that realm. We don't work on faith in this business. We shouldn't. It should be completely autonomous from what you're doing up here. If you want to pray on it, that's different. If you want to have a conversation and ask for God's guidance, that's completely different. But if you're going to sit up here and say, because I said so, trust me, bro, that's not fact. That's opinion. That's faith. And I don't do things on faith when it comes to this. I do other things on faith. The guidance of the health of my family, when I need to pray for a loved one or somebody sick who's a listener. Faith is a completely different conversation. But I don't sit here and say, we were attacked by Houthis last night in Baltimore. I know that because I believe it. That does mean nothing. You might as well go ahead and talk about the Salem witch trials and a pebble and a duck and a witch, because that to me means nothing. And this means nothing because there's nothing factual about it. Here's the rest. The two critical components. Half a mile of bridge went in the river. Likely you will have to build a new one. Well, here's the thing. The number one part about building one of these bridges, and I'm not a constructional engineer, but I did stay at a Holiday Inn Express last night, is that you're going to have to understand the hardest thing is to plant the foundation of a bridge. It's not necessarily the building of the bridge, and the foundations are still in place. Whatever major repair needs to take place, most of it was overall structural support damage, not necessarily foundational support. I'm sure there's going to be some, but the whole thing is that the bones are there. Now you need to skin it out, okay? Does it mean that it's going to be up tomorrow? No, but it's going to be faster than it would be to have to completely rebuild the foundation. And what they're probably going to do is make this a little bit different than they did the last time. They'll have to do a full suspension support. They'll figure out what to do. There's modern day advancement, and it will be a lot different than it was from 1974. But what does that look like, and how long does that take? I don't know, but I will tell you just from a person who has torn a house down and rebuilt it, once you have the foundation placed, once it's leveled out, once all your piping and everything's set up, it's a little bit easier to build a home on a foundation than it is from scratch. And I think any person in construction will tell you that. You think he's being mean, Violet? Oh, Violet's here. We got to get put here. Here we go. You think he's being mean. I think he's being genuinely honest. It's all perspective, I guess, and everyone with eyes and ears should be angry at how our government officials are handling the issues at severe times like these. If you came here for rainbows and butterflies to make you feel better, you've picked the wrong podcast. Matt is real and in your face, and that's what I am looking and hearing to see. Thanks. Well, listen, Emma has a right to, listen, if Emma comes up and goes, why are you so angry at me? That's a question. That's very different. And then I'll answer it. I'm not angry at you. I'm not talking to you. Why are you taking it personal? If you're not the person who has went on my page and every single post that people make on just a post that I showed the before and after of the bridge and said, it's for my timeline to remember this because it's important to me. And people are linking every comment and showing them and saying that it's explosions. You're lying. I'm more angry that somebody would be dishonest. If that's you and you did that, then yes, I'm frustrated with you this morning. If you didn't do that, then just listen because it's not about you. I love when people say I've changed. Attack perfectly targeted. They have figured out how to bring us down. As long as you stay away from the teeth of the U.S. military, you can pick the U.S. apart. Does anyone know what's in Baltimore? Does anyone know what's in that same inlet? Does anyone know where we dry dock our subs and dry dock our U.S. vessels? Does anyone know where the closest military base is? Does anyone know what that harbor's bracketed by? Does anyone know that there's 3 naval support commands all within striking distance of that base and they can be there within an hour? Baltimore is probably one of the worst places that you would attack if you didn't want U.S. military intervention literally coming down on your head. Look it up. Look where all our subs and our retrofits for subs are done. Look where we're putting boomers out. Look where we're putting Seawolves out. Look at where all of our SDVs are built and tested. It's all Maryland. Come on, people. Laura Logan needs to focus on Britain and stop messing with the United States because I don't think she knows what's in her fucking head. Oh, she got a bee in her bonnet. She's got some bloody cheek. Was that hateful? We are arrogant and ignorant, lethal combination. Obama said they would fundamentally change America, and they did. We are in a free fall ride on a roller coaster right now. No brakes, just picking up speed. That is what is known as red meat. When you're writing an article, I know a little bit about it. You can go read the article at the news.thedumb show. When you're doing something like that, when you're writing something like that, you want to tie the sinews of emotional platitudes. You want to tie it in to make one thing attached to another that people inherently agree with. Because I agree with that statement. They are eroding our country from the inside. Obama's plan was absolutely not Sharia law, but to destroy the overall influence of capitalism in the world and to create a globalist style government where the United States would take the helm. Everyone knows that. So when you take that piece of it, it slaps on this, it validates this trash. Because in your head, you're like, oh, I completely agree with that. Therefore, the rest must be true. You see how that's done? It's red meat. And it's beautiful. It's beautifully articulated. You start off with a little bit of bullshit. You take a bite of that, and you're like, ugh. And then you eat the red meat. You're like, oh, that's pretty good. And then you get to the last part, which is bullshit. It's called a butt sandwich. It's like when somebody says to you, I really am sorry that I did that, but I'm really sorry I did that. It's a complete sentence. And the moment that you say but invalidates everything that came before it. So when someone says, I'm sorry, but they're not sorry. All they want to do is tell you why you're still wrong, and they placate to say, I'm sorry, and then go ahead and tell you why you're wrong. That's a butt sandwich. This is a butt sandwich. A little bit of butt, a little bit of steak, a little bit of butt. Because here comes the butt, I promise you that. Our foundation's harder to build in water. Absolutely. Everything's harder in water. Welding is harder in water. Placement is harder. To get a solid foundation because of the sediment is harder. Current makes it harder. Everything's harder underwater. That's why these guys, these divers in Houston, friends of mine who ex-team guys are in Houston, are making $7-8 million a year doing diving and salvage. It's an incredible industry if you know what you're doing. And yeah, it's harder. Everything's harder under the water. Even sex. Was that hateful? Okay. Why are we not responding to Emma anymore? Wait a second. What's going on? Wait. Hold on. Emma Smith, you're okay. I understand the feelings about a spouse. Embrace the good times and build. Everyone leave Emma alone. Okay? Okay. Damn it. Listen to me. Just because somebody says something, I'm a big boy. I can take care of myself. I don't need anyone defending me, y'all. You guys are really loyal, and I love that. But Emma has a right. If Emma thinks that I've changed, then damn it, I should listen to her. I did. I listened to her. I don't agree with her. But that's okay. I listened to what she had to say. I don't hate Emma. I don't want her to leave. I don't even know Emma. I know her name. But I don't need everyone attacking her because she didn't say anything that hurt my feelings. I have changed. A lot of people say, I guarantee there's people who are like, wow, I didn't know Matt looked like that. I've never seen him from the side. I've never seen 3D. I thought he was fatter. I thought he was thinner. I thought he was more muscular. I thought he had a thinner beard. I didn't know his hair was that long. I didn't know he was extremely handsome and good looking. That's probably what most people are thinking. But it doesn't matter. Who cares? I got bills to pay. I cannot make every single person feel great. All I can do is put the information out there and call balls and strikes, okay? Leave her alone. Everyone just leave everyone alone. If somebody wants to say that I'm a fascist Nazi dick, okay. If somebody wants to say I'm the greatest thing since sliced bread, that's cool. But in the end, it doesn't really matter, okay? In the end, it doesn't really matter. Let's get back to this. So there's the red meat. Here comes the rest of the shit sandwich. The footage shows the cargo ship never got in the approach lane in the channel. That's not true. That's not true at all. Hold on. Let's play it again, Sam. Oh, I need to get this set up. Oh. All right. I explained this last night. We'll do it again. Okay? We'll do it again for the people who are crazy. Like, not crazy, sorry. Do it for, like, crazy about this. Okay. Here's the thing you need to understand. Why are there cameras? Well, there's cameras because there's cameras all over there. There's cameras for many reasons. There's cameras for fog, inclement weather, to go ahead and find whitecaps, to figure out where the tide is, to figure out if people are trying to damage the bridge, the amount of cars and trucks going by. There are cameras all up and down this, and for anti-terrorist reasons. There's a million and one reasons to have cameras. But what I want you to understand is that if you ever want to know where a camera is placed, look at the lens flare. Look at the reflective light. If you look at these lights, if you look at my mouse, see them coming up and down? That's the perspective of the lens. So the camera is going to be right along this line. So here's your line, up and down, straight up and down. And what's hilarious is that this red blinking light right here, this indicator, which is usually for low-flying aircraft, but also for a beacon for them to put their guide on and their sextants and all that shit, when they go ahead and nav, they go ahead and put their bearing, whether their bearing is 27 degrees or 176 north, east, west, whatever the shit, because I'm not a navigator. And they will use that bearing marking. There's also a communication that goes out, a radio communication, a beacon in case it's too foggy, so they can line up with it that way. But either way, it's to show them to go dead middle through the channel, through those two pylons. Okay? And that pylon, that's a very long breadth of area. 0.6 of a mile. It's not like driving through a parking lot. But when there's no inclement weather, there was a 3-degree wind, north by northwest, I think, or north by southwest, one of the two. It was 100% visibility. It was a cool night. There was absolutely no breakup on the water. It was glass. You could literally just surf across the water and walk across it if it was solid. It was beautiful. There was no freaking offside wind. There was no offshore wind or onshore wind that was pushing the vessel. It was in the channel. If it wasn't in the channel, it'd be dredging right now. The thing would be 37 degrees off center and on its side to starboard to port if it wasn't in the channel. They dredge those things out, specifically designed for those large vessels, which means that they remove the sediment and remove and channel there so the underbelly during low tide, high tide doesn't go ahead and get caught on the bottom. Does that make sense? So of course it's in the channel. What are you talking about? It's not in the channel. If it wasn't in the channel, it wouldn't be moving. And there would be, you would see cavitation, and you would see the water would literally displace because that thing would just, that's going to stop it. And a lot of people are flipping out and going, well, what about the sudden turn? Why didn't they drop the anchor? They did drop the anchor. We didn't have that information last night. And guess what? I said it's not going to do any good. I didn't know. Nobody knew they dropped anchor last night. In fact, I was like, why would they? First of all, there's no time. Second of all, there's no way it's going to make an impact. The only reason you drop anchor in that situation is if you can go ahead and drop it to have it turn the opposite way that you want it to go, whether you decide to drop port or starboard anchor. Because the inertia of it, if you drop it here, is going to turn the ship this way. If you drop it this side, it's going to turn it this way, theoretically. So it's kind of like turning into the snow. If anyone's been driven on an icy road and you start to spin, you don't turn out of it, you turn into it. And that's counterintuitive. A lot of people, when they see their car going this way, they turn the opposite way. Well, all that does is go ahead and slide them and push them into the curve, the turn. But when you turn this way with your wheel, it goes ahead and it goes against the turn when you go into it. It's the opposite thought process. It's like flying with the controls upside down on a plane. So they dropped anchor. And what did I tell you? They would have to drop 30 anchors to make that impact. To stop that vehicle going 9 knots? No way. It's not going to have the impact you want it to have. And it might be nice in a movie. Might be nice in a movie, but not in realism. Not in the real world. But they tried. We'll break that down in a minute. So watch the channel. Okay? So let's watch this. We should have 1,000 people on right now. This is crazy, but it's the middle of the day. That's why. You see, they lose power right here. Now it's coasting on its own power. It hasn't started its turn, but it makes a course correction. Why did it make a course correction? Because the steering locked. Steering didn't recover from the power outage. They lost engines. You can see the black smoke. Then they lose power again. This is sped up. The people are like, oh my God, they turned so fast. Folks, this is sped up. This is in high speed. Do you see the lights? Do you see the vehicles? Those guys aren't going 1,000 miles an hour across that bridge. This thing turns like a whale. It turns like a whale. And once that steering locks up, you're done. And the thing is that if that pylon wasn't there and it would have continued course, it would have ran aground on the shore. It would have went to the starboard side. It would have continued to turn. Steering was gone. They dropped anchor. They did everything they could to have it turn. They dropped starboard anchor to get it to turn to port. It didn't work. Sometimes the simplest answer, man, Occam's razor is the right one. No matter how improbable it may be, accidents happen. And if you are a sailor, and I'm not going out there, "Arr, you matey, let's go ahead and scrub the decks and trim the topsail." That's not what I'm doing. I mean, the modern Navy. I wasn't on the USS Constitution, thank you very much. I don't care how old you think I am, but I do know enough about the Navy as far as tying a knot or how basic naval seamanship works. I've been on the bridge. I've been on the forecastle. I've been starboard watch and port side watch. I've been aft watch. I've assisted with dropping the anchor. I've tied a few knots on some cleats. I've hoisted the mast and trimmed the topsail occasionally. Does that make me an expert? No. But what does make me an expert is understanding the basic seamanship and how it works. Going through the Suez Canal a few times, going through Guadalcanal, pulling into Greece and the Limnos Islands, pulling into Bahrain and seeing other places, pulling into Hong Kong Harbor, pulling into Petropavlovsk, Severomorsk, and Vladivostok, Sydney, Perth, Brisbane, Yokosuka, Japan, Okinawa, Hokkaido. Yeah, I've seen a few things. So yeah, I understand what it's like. So if you're going to sit here and tell me that they weren't in channel, you're full of shit. You don't know what you're talking about. Lara, whatever the hell her name is. Watch the rest. When this comes through, its bearing is on this red light. The line, the bearing line is here. Right here. then it loses its power. It still is not turning yet. It's still, but when it regains power, steering, there's a compensation made, and that steering is locked. Rudder probably pushed full to port side, which makes it turn to starboard. And once that's locked, but look, you can see the ass end still swinging even when it hits. Look, you're going to see it right here. Come right here. You're going to see a little bit of shadow of it. It's still turning. That's where they dropped the anchor. Right before that, you could tell because the turn stopped. It was over. It was done. There's nothing they could do. Now, why did the bridge fall? Folks, do I really need to get into this for you of what I want you to do a plank. I want you to take your elbows and I want you to take your toes and I want you to go ahead and do a plank. Do a plank. Lay on the floor like this, okay? Then I want you to pull your elbows and make them flat. What's going to happen? And your feet are going to stay up. But the entire body, midsection, chest, buttocks, calves, everything going to drop, right? But your feet are going to stay up. Now I want you to imagine that you are the same plank, but outside of your head, there's another 2 or 3 feet, and outside of your feet, there's another 2 or 3 feet. Watch what happens here and tell me this isn't the exact same thing. Basic physics, folks. They take out these elbows. Elbows get completely pushed up by a 190,000-ton vehicle moving at 9 knots. Listen, I'm not Neil Tyson deGrasse. I can't do the physics on that, but let me tell you, it's a shitload. Boom, there goes the elbows, there goes the chest. Oh, there's the feet. And the reason why it went like this is because you had another 3 feet on the suspension of the feet. And when that went like this, all the rivets, everything exploded. Metal on metal grinded. You saw sparks. You saw smoke. You have electrical wiring going through that bridge, folk. All these things are not explosions. It is high tension metal snapping. And the energy from that metal, the paint, the explosion, that the sparks are all metal tearing from itself. If you don't believe me, go get 2 knives and spin them around as fast as you can, and then have them touch and watch what happens. You've seen knights do this, where you see sparks, metal sparks. It's the transfer of superheated energy moving onto tiny particles on that steel and breaking away. And that creates a massive amount of energy. And that energy turns into heat. That heat then transfers into and melts and liquefies metal. When that much force is coming down, it super excites the atoms inside that steel. And when it rips and breaks, that energy must release. It must go somewhere. And anyone who has seen metal under tension, we saw this with 9/11. You've seen this with buildings when they go down. You've seen this with car crashes. You've seen it when 2 pieces of metal strike each other. There is so much tension and force that people are also saying that these are minor explosions. It's not all a conspiracy. This bridge is designed as a suspension bridge, and the rib cage of that holds that tension from both sides that hold those 3-foot parts that are from your head and feet. That rib cage at the top holds it. You have your 2 support columns. That's the abdomen. And then out past the feet and out past the head, that's where you see that rib cage going up, which is the suspension holding, and all that tension is, and the pivotal point where it all meets, where that red light is. Any constructional engineer can come in here and tell you that what I'm telling you is not bullshit. And the moment that you wiped out those elbows, all that weight, 150 feet straight down, and then that one column had to hold all that tension. And with all that weight pushing down on that one column, snapped. And that energy flipped the rest of the feet side 3 feet back and down. And you saw it go up and then come down. And then the only thing you have is the feet left. It's the only way I can put it in the most simplest terms possible. I hope that makes sense. I hope that puts it in an easy and simple way where people go, okay, I get it. There were no explosions. I'm reading comments. Not Guadalcanal, Panama Canal. My God, did I say Guadalcanal? Holy shit. Yes, on Guadalcanal. The Japanese. Those little bastards. Told you. Dude, 4:30 yesterday. 4 o'clock today. I'm burning. Man, I'm burning. I'm so tired. Did I say Guadalcanal? Son of a bitch. I need some more coffee. Garçon, coffee. I'm going to call the kids. Hayden or Ethan. Thanks, baby. I can't believe I said Guadalcanal. Son of a bitch. Hi, honey. Your daddy's a little tired. He just said Guadalcanal, and I guess I fought the Japanese. But it's. I meant Panama. Could you grab me some coffee?
Yeah.
Can I have a kiss?
Yeah.
I love you. Thanks, pumpkin.
Love you.
All right. Let's make that fast, please. Guadalcanal. Jeez Louise. Back in Iwo Jima, I did some amazing things. Good morning, Matt. Tapping in. Just got back from prayer. Started my fast. I'm looking forward to, well, congratulations, buddy. Matt, are your kiddos on spring break? They sure are. It's good to be home with them. I love them. Can't believe I said Guadalcanal. My God. All right, let's get to the rest of this real quick, okay? I want to finish this. We got 105 on. It's good to see. Listen, it's not personal. I'm not mad at anybody. Everyone's allowed to have an opinion. This is what this channel is designed to do. It's to explore. Thank you, my darling.
Yepers.
You're the best. That's cold. Could you 30 seconds, 45 seconds?
Cold?
Oh, it's ice cold.
I literally just.
That's like Eskimo. That's like Eskimo piss cold. Could you nuke that for 1 minute solid, please? Oh, it's nothing like cold coffee. So hard to find good help these days. So she says, the footage shows that the ship never got into the approach lane. Must have to be in the channel before you get into that turn. There is no turn. There is no turn. I've already shown you the photo. Do I have it again? Nope. These are old ones. I've already shown you the photo. They literally have to go straight, and then once they clear the bridge, then they do a turn. Of course they're not trying to. There's nowhere to turn. You have to hit it dead tap center. You don't want to not hit it dead tap center. These vessels are rated on this. You can look at Nav Tracker and see the lines of this. I showed you last night, all the times it's been in out of this harbor. And they rate them based upon their GPS synchronous positioning with the bridge and with the channel lane. And they're rated and they get feedback. You get a report. Here's how you did. You got an 87%. You were off on A, B, and C. You came too fast, came in too hot. You were 2 degrees off on your drive line. Whatever it is, they get feedback on how they do. Of course you come in dead tap center. Of course you don't do a major turn into a pylon. That's not what you do. It's not like this guy didn't know what he was doing. Now, could there be an investigation where he was drunk? Sure. All these things could take place. I'm not saying that. But the story that you have is fairly easy. It's fairly simple. The steering locked up. They lost power. They lost hydraulics. It's not that hard. When they came out of power failure 1, maybe they made an overcorrection. And then when they lost power failure 2, they weren't able to go ahead and fix the correction. And by that time, they were done. There could be negligence. Maybe they should have overreacted and done course correction. Maybe they should have dropped anchor before. Maybe we find 9 knots is too fast. Thank you.
Very hot. Be careful.
Let me see. Oh, yeah, that's what I call a campfire. That's what I had a girl. Woo! Look at that. You can see the steam coming off that sucker. Woo! That's hot. Burning corpuscles. There's nothing smells like burning corpuscles in the morning. Napalm. Oh, God, do I have to read the rest of this shit? I can't believe I got to read the rest of this shit. Location was precise and deliberate. Chose a bend in the river where you have to slow down and commit yourself. Folks, This person's a journalist. Let me see if I can find a file. Yes. Somebody show me the bend in the river. Here's the impact spot right here. Here's the impact spot right here, the black dot. Show me the bend. Show me the bend. On his line coming through this channel. Can you guys see my mouse? Can you see that? I don't think you can. It doesn't matter. Show me the bend. You see that? See that little dot above the B? That's the only thing that needs to be navigated, which is, I think, is a channel marker. You come in through that part, and then you go straight out to sea. There is no bend. What is she talking about? I'll tell you what she's talking about. She doesn't know what she's talking about. And it's evident. And people are reposting this everywhere. It's all over my page. And I won't delete it. But I had to do a video this morning. Let's listen to the rest. Where you have to slow down and commit yourself. Wait, okay. I'm going to go ahead and center myself. I'm going to center my chi. Hold on. I commit to this turn. It's going to be a big turn. It's going to be a turn that's going to change my life. But I commit. What the? I commit to this turn. I swear to God, this turn's going to change my life. I'm going to reach out to you and touch you. Fall into your life. I commit. I commit. There is no turn. It's just go straight ahead. Slight modifications, 3 to 4 degree turns. There is no slow down and speed up. It's all one speed. You go into the bridge, you take it down to a certain amount of knots, at a certain angle, at a certain depth, in the channel lane, and you're done. That's it. There was no fog. There was no wind. There were no white caps. There were no swells. There were no full moons. There were no direct energy weapons. It was a mistake. It was an accident. It was one of the two. More than likely an accident. And that's what everyone's saying. We're not done. We're going to keep going. Yes! Once you are committed in that area, there's not enough room to maneuver. You've got to center yourself and slow down and commit. I, large military, non-military vessel, do solemnly swear to love and uphold, and I promise myself to all other ships that I will be true and I will obey the captaincy command till death do us part. You may kiss the ship. So gay. Should have had a harbor pilot the boat. You are not supposed to traverse any obstacles without the harbor pilot. They weren't in the harbor. It wasn't in the harbor. All the way to the left is the harbor. They were in an open lane. They are going out to sea. There's no obstacle. There's a bridge. They've done it 1,000,000 times before. It's been done 1,000,000 times. Everyone's done it. It's never happened before. I don't even think they've traded paint before. They were already pushed out of harbor to tug. Tug and harbor master do that. They don't take you out to sea and bye. Bye. It's not the way it's done. They pull you. You take the cleats off. You take the moor off. You go ahead and untie. Tugboat comes from front. Gives you a slight bump. squeezes in between the side of the dock and the vessel, pushes you laterally, something you can't do as a ship. No ship does this. Oh, doesn't do that. No. It goes like this. Not this. No ship. There isn't a ship on the planet that does that. Nope. No. You need a tug. So the tug comes in on the side, it goes, and you go, and the captain just sits there and does this. This is what the captain does. You ready? I'm going to be captain. I don't have, my chair doesn't go that high. Here it is. Forecastle. Looks good, captain. Starboard. Port. Aft. How we doing? Let's look for obstructions, boys. Anything in the water? No? All right. Okay. Looks like the tugs are done. Looks like we're ready to go full power. Harbor master, this is full check. We clear? Roger. All right, we're firing her up. Propeller 1, propeller 2. Let's go ahead and get those engines. Engineering? We green? Okay. Uh-huh. All right, go ahead and put in nav. All right, we're good. Green light check. All right, all positions. Good. Green, good. All right, let's go ahead and get started. That's it. It's not. Oh, bye. We're going out to sea. We're going to go 10 miles out of the harbor. We're going to go ahead and push them all the way out there. And then we're going to go back. We're going to get another boat. But today, Junior, guess what we get to do? I don't know, Dad. What are we going to do? We're going to tug, son. Oh, hoot, hoot. How many ships are we going to be able to get out? Well, let's see, son. We got to go 10 miles in. We got to go 10 miles out. We move at an average speed of about 2.5 knots at maximum, maybe 1. Let's do the math. Okay, We should be able to get 2.1 ships out of the harbor today. Oh, Dad, that's a record. We should slow down. Let's go for 1 and see if we can do that all day. Is that how it works? Can you imagine the fucking mess that would be? Do you know how many ships come in and out of here? Oh, bye. This isn't a Disney movie. They get them off the dock. They point them in the right direction. They kick them in the ass and the ships go on their own power. Once they navigate them through that, that's it. Tugs don't take them out to sea. Matt, what do you think shut the power out? Lack of fueling? Dude, there are a million reasons to lose power on a ship. All of them are bad. But you know what it isn't? Bye. It's not what it is. That's what it isn't. But I can't tell you why. You can lose it because you lose main engine power. You could have a blown battery. You could have bad cell. You could have you could blow a fuse. You could have faulty. You could have fire and wiring. You could have engine mixed with oil and fuel. Secondary power isn't designed to run hydraulics and run the main engine. It's to get your nav computer up, communications up, and some of your lighting up. That's it. Anthony said it. Aliens did it. That's right. Hello, we're here to destroy your bridge. We could destroy your capital. We could destroy your entire planet, but that fucking bridge is going down. Yeah, that's what happened. Honk, honk, bye. Am I being hateful? I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Listen to this shit. Here, you ready? They chose a full moon so they would have maximum tidal shift. Does everyone understand? Does everyone understand how high tide works? Does everyone understand that the tide rises not because the moon's out? Does everyone understand that the gravitational force of the moon is like a cone? And if you look at the overall globe, and if you look at the circle of high tide, it actually works like this, where it pushes water out past, and then that water coming up, the rest of the water lowers. Does everyone understand that? That's how tidal shift works? Everyone thinks it's one side of the earth, just all the water. That's not the way it works. The moon's gravitational beam works in like a cone. And it's possible to have a high tide in a certain part of the world. And then obviously this side, which is still moon side, doesn't have high tide. That's not the way it works. And even if it is the way they say it is, who fucking cares? I would say that waiting till a full moon gives you more visibility, gives you a chance of less inclement weather, gives you a chance to have a better chance of getting through because the water is high and you won't be riding low, so you don't dredge the bottom or have the ability to go ahead and possibly have some sort of influence with the ship having to navigate to avoid any dredge or bottom. Who gives a shit if it's a full moon? If it was a fucking summer harvest moon, it was a summer harvest moon. It was the winter solstice. Winter is coming. You know nothing, Jon Snow. You know nothing, Jon Snow. They chose a full moon so they would have maximum tidal shift rise and fall. Did anyone see that thing rising and falling in the quarter mile? Did anyone see it moving up and down? Is that how people believe? Did anyone see any whitecaps? Do you see any motion on that water? I could literally look at my reflection. Look at the breakup on those light lines coming in. There aren't any. There aren't any. You don't get refraction like that on whitecaps and water that's moving like that. That's not the way tidal shifts work. Maybe in a bathtub when somebody breaks wind, you might see. But what do you guys think happens? The moon goes up and all of a sudden water's going like this. Water rises. That's all it does. It just rises. It doesn't do this. Maybe over looking at a time lapse over 6 months. You ask a captain who has a heavy load, what's better to go through, high tide or low tide? They're going to tell you high tide. If you tell a captain who has no load, high tide or low tide, they don't care. If you're going to ask them if there's high winds, what do they want, low tide or high tide? I don't know. I'm not a captain of a ship, but I would assume that the more water that they have and more depth gives them more forgiveness on the starboard and port side with higher winds, that they would want more water. I would assume. And why would I assume that? Well, because I'm an educated human being. A brisk flow in that river on a normal day and had a lot of rain recently, so water was already moving along at a good pace. It's a fucking inlet. It's not a tributary. It's not a pond. It's not the Thames River here. This isn't the mighty Mississippi. It's an inlet. It's ocean water. It's not a river. Go drink that water. In 3 days, you'll be shitting purple Twinkies and dried up like a prune. Oh my God. There was a lot of rain. Oh. Well, why didn't we say that? It rained the night before. I live 30 minutes from there. We got like 1/8 of an inch with no wind. Lord. I can't believe I got to read this shit. Hit it with enough kinetic energy to knock the load-bearing pylon out from under the highway, which fatally weakens the span, and the 50% of the bridge fell into water. No shit, Sherlock. And it was actually 60% of the bridge. It was more than that. It was almost 75% of the bridge on the initial fall. All these factors, when you look at it, mean absolutely nothing. I am your father's brother's sister's cousin's girlfriend's roommate. What does that make us? Absolutely nothing. All these factors when you look at it. This is how you teach people how to do this type of attack. And there are few so people left in the system who know this. We have a junior varsity team on the field. Okay, let me explain something. Let me tell you how stupid Fox News is, okay? Amy says, it was the gravitational pull of Venus onto Uranus. Don't tease me with a good time. Now listen. This is what Fox and Friends did this morning. I was making my omelet because she got done with a great lift. I was feeling good. Just, oh yeah, man. Randy Macho Man Savage. And I was feeling good. So I get my avocado, I get my turkey, get my low-fat cheese, get my 8-egg omelet, whites with one single regular, and I cook it up, get it all, get my pieces of stone ground toast. Same breakfast I've had for 5 years. I put it on the plate. I'm just ready to grub. I'm just, feeling really good. And all of a sudden, Peter Ducey's dad, I don't remember his name, whatever that dipshit. Oh my God, that guy. He needs to get off air. He is just, he goes, you know what I'm worried about? I'm a little worried about a couple things. This really just, if I was a terrorist, I'd be taking notes and I'd be writing this down and I'd be plotting my next terrorist attack and I'd just do the same thing somewhere else in another bridge. I'll tell you what. In fact, if you want to go ahead and call 1-800-FOX and Friends Terrorism, we got a special program for you that if you're a first-time terrorist, it's $24.99 to join the Fox Terrorist Program. You can come on in. We love you. We appreciate you. Come on in. We've got some schematics on how you can poison the water system. We can even tell you how to destroy the hydraulics on planes and crash them too. We've got it all here at Fox and Friends because we believe that friends are better together and so are terrorists. Let us teach you what to do. Let me tell you a little story. Watching 9/11. It's like day 3. Nobody's showered in days. We all smell like a foot. And we're all locked on the TV. And I am fresh out of intelligence. Yes.
Question. Can my friend Autumn come over today for a sleepover?
Sure.
Thank you.
Yeah. Do I know her?
No, you haven't met her yet.
Did her parents, what's up with all these new friends? Did her parents say yes?
I made a lot of new friends this year.
Great. Did her parents say yes?
Yeah, her parents.
Do her parents need to meet me?
No.
They should meet me. Tell them I want to meet them.
Okay.
Okay, love you, bye. So we all smell like feet, and we've been watching 9/11 and watching the horror 3 days, and like America's pissed, obviously. We all remember this. And some CBS reporter, some dick waffle, goes on and goes, so Brenda, listen, you've been working in counterterrorism for your whole life. Can you tell me what do you expect to be the next thing that hits the United States of America? Brenda's like, well, thanks, Gene, but honestly, I really shouldn't talk about that because we're not at liberty to discuss. We have a lot of things that we're looking at to ensure that the America is safe and the people in the United States are safe, and that we diligently continue to do our jobs to ensure that. Well, okay, Brenda, but what I was thinking is why doesn't somebody just go to the water supply? Go ahead and get anthrax or some Ebola and put it into the water supply. Hold that hostage. Wait till it distributes for a few days and kill millions of people. Wouldn't that be? Or what if they went down to some of these industrial plants in the commerce districts that recycle all their air with those industrial plants and put an airborne pathogen in it? Wouldn't that be easier if they went into some place like New York or Chicago or St. Louis? And Brenda's like, Gene, will you please shut the fuck up? I'm screaming at the TV, dude, what are you doing? You're playing for the wrong side, Holmes. Shut your fucking face. That's what Fox and Friends did this morning. And I'm just listening going, oh my God. Yeah, if I was a terrorist, I'd just do the same thing and replicate it. I mean, I don't know. Good job, bro. And it's not that you're the jerk that's going to make it happen, but what are you doing? Steve Ducey and Kathy Garrity. Okay, great. That guy, Steve needs to not talk anymore. Let's finish this because I've got a show to do. I haven't even written my article this morning. Tremendous navigational obstruction. Huge logistical nightmare to clean this up. Number of dead is tragic, but not the whole measure of the attack. What kind of bridge constantly under repair, always at night because there is so much traffic and they can't obstruct that during the day? So concern is for repair guys who were on foot out of their vehicles working who may now be in the water 48 degrees at most at this time of year. When you choke off Baltimore, you have cut the main north-south hazardous corridor I-95 in half. Now has to go around the city or go somewhere else. To move some of that cargo through the tunnel, you may have been able to get a permit, but those are slow to get and require an escort system. This is expensive and it's been done at night. For every $100 that goes into that city, $12 comes from shipping. Believe this will cripple the city of Baltimore at a time when they do not have the resources to recover. That's the only true thing on this whole fucking piece of crap. You should have led with that. You should have talked about the financial ruin that's Baltimore. You should talk about the inner city and how Baltimore was on a course to destruction anyway. Baltimore's a shithole. Infrastructure, it's a Chicago fire waiting to happen. The crime rate, the overall death of inner city youth, the drugs, the violence, the things that come out of there, it was already a shithole. Here's what I want. Yeah, Timothy, she just said it. The economic problems that are going to happen are predominantly going to be from how they circumnavigate this traffic to other parts, whether it be a tunnel, another bridge, or creating a secondary port, which is what it's going to happen. And then you're going to have to cargo and ferry. And the issue with that is that you might have spills, you might have accidents. All of these things are things that I am not logistically going to figure out, and I don't want to because it's not my job. But there will be people who figure this out. And yes, there will be an impact. But for the people who are, these are the same people that said that there was an attack on all of our food supply and all of these food processing plants were going up in smoke and it was some sort of abnormality. No, it's not. There's like 3,700 ag plants and food processing plants in the greater United States. And every year, hundreds go up in smoke. It just so happens that more than previously went up in smoke this time. But the increase was about 12%. And that is in line with retailers. That's in line with gas stations. That's in line with farm equipment and grain silos and processing plants of other sorts have also. And the reason why is because after COVID, workforces went down, quality control checks lessened, and we're going to find that this vessel was probably a quality control check, a lack of personnel to do preventive maintenance. And you're going to find that the logs are probably out of date and these shipping companies are saving dollars because of COVID and they've had their margins decrease because of the cost of fuel and they cut around the corners. That's what you're going to find. And it's not surprising that these ag plants, which use a shit ton of kerosene, a shit ton of chemicals to go ahead and process this food, that occasionally there's going to be fires. Occasionally there's going to be issues. Not everything is a giant conspiracy to depopulate the area. Leroy and I have said this best. When you can find one thing in the story that doesn't make sense, ask yourself the question, why does the rest? And here it is. Why would the government, which only source of revenue is the people, would they eliminate its source of revenue? Why does that make sense? I'm not questioning anything when it comes to that this company is responsible for this, that this company should have done its due diligence, that there was obviously some negligence that took place. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is that this is not the CIA or the FBI, okay? There are a lot of other ways to cripple the United States other than taking down a bridge, okay? I understand where people are coming from. Accidents happen. Thousands of ships go through that inlet annually. This is a mistake. This ship had already been in an accident. Do you realize that most ships on the manifest have been in some sort of accident, one another, whether it's a ship-to-ship collision or it's a harbor violation or trading skin or trading paint with a harbor entry or hitting a jetty or even hitting a buoy or another vessel or running aground? Mistakes happen. There are thousands of ships in the ocean that have made one tragic mistake after another that ultimately lead to their demise. These things are not impervious to sinking. They're not impervious to losing power. Mel and I talked about it last night. My vessel, South Japan, 97-degree water. We lost engine power. We lost ventilation. It got to 126 in some of those berthing areas with 100% humidity. Things happen. Mel talked about how many times she's lost hydraulics, lost steering. And what did I say last night? I said, the guy lost hydraulics, he lost steering. What are they saying today? It's hydraulics and steering. I told you he made a 911 or a Mayday call. Guess what? You heard the call today. It's on there. They told them to stop the flow of vehicles. Those people saved lives. Which terrorists want to save lives? We've got to do a better job of stopping and thinking and listening to people like Laura Logan and General Flynn. How can they know everything? Do you know how many things I don't touch on? Do you know how many things I don't talk about because I don't know what I'm talking about? But this one I can do. I could do the go ahead and the Nashville Pac Bell bomber that they said was blowing up Dominion servers. I did that one. I'm the one that found that freaking dude. I found that RV before every news agency on Google Maps. You guys remember I was live for that. It was a huge show. Remember the Canadian guy running the border? I broke that and told you that too. There are plenty of things that we have uncovered on this show because what we don't do is overreact. And when the narrative comes out, we pick it apart, we disseminate, we process, and then we regurgitate it to y'all. And we try to give you the facts. Somebody came on earlier today and said, Matt, you're so hateful. I'm not hateful. I don't have the time to coddle stupidity. And it doesn't mean you're a stupid person. Doesn't mean you're a stupid person. But if you constantly believe stuff like this, if you constantly don't validate and you just regurgitate what you hear and don't challenge it, you're going to be at risk for saying stupid things. So there it is. Any questions, comments, concerns, throw them forward. I got to get off. I got to do an article and I got to cut this show. People have already blamed it on illegals. Some people said that they were illegal immigrants who were working on the ship and they caused it. Bigfoot's been blamed. Matt, if you could put yourself in the mind of a conspiracy Alex Jones types, why would you think all this was done on purpose? What is the skeptical conspiracy theorist agenda to believe this? I don't think that way. I don't create a narrative just because my mind wants to run aglow with transient thoughts. I don't do that shit. It's a waste of time. I don't do the what if. I take the things that we know, I apply them to the overall probability of it happening. I talk to firsthand accounts, I get expert opinion, and then I go ahead and try to break the narrative like I just did with Laura and pick her shit apart. The first line, you knew the rest of it was bullshit. And that's how you know. When somebody says something that isn't true to start off an article or start off a podcast and their entire premise is wrong, why do you need to go any further? This is what I've tried to tell people. Is why do you keep going back to the same sources that lie to you? Why do you continue to go back to the same sources that have been lying to you for years? Why do you listen to Karl Rove? Why do you listen to these pollsters? Why do you listen to Nielsen ratings? Why do you listen to Turning Point USA? Why do you listen to Charlie Kirk? Charlie Kirk told you that Kari Lake had 70,000 votes in the bag and they were all going to be dropped. And I told you 3 weeks before that election even happened that Kari Lake had no chance of winning, that she wasn't going to pull Maricopa, that she didn't have the votes. And what happened, as I walked you through it, I told you she's going to decrease, but she's going to come down around 7% shy. There's no way. She's going to be 30,000 votes shy. And what happened? It was like 31,200 and something. And what happened? Everybody said, oh, they stole it. They stole it. No, she lost it. She lost it. Arizona is renowned for having shitty handling of their election process. So is California. There's a lot of states. But it's baked into the pie. Charlie Kirk sat up on stage and lied to you for weeks and made shit up that wasn't true and continued to try to punt the ball for Carrie Lake. And I told you what was going to happen. I told you Whitmer was going to win. Everyone said I was crazy. No way. They're going to get her out of there. She's a socialist. There's no, she's the one, she may be a socialist. She may be a progressive. She's also the most popular freaking gov in the United States. Go look at the polls. During 2020, she was the most popular. 2022. She won. I told you Kemp was going to win. No, Kemp turned against Trump. It doesn't matter. He handled COVID, and Georgia loves him because of it. Guess what? He won. I told you that Herschel Walker was going to get his ass mopped. He did. I told you Mohammed Oz was a shit show choice, and Fetterman was going to come in because Pennsylvania people love the calloused hand, hoodie-wearing guy versus Mohammed Oz, who's an outsider who's pretending that he cares about guns, even though he's pro-abortion, pro-trans, and hates guns. He lost. I told you Majewski, J.R. Majewski up in Ohio, was a stolen valor douche plow and was going to go ahead and run and lose. And it was going to come out that he stole valor. Guess what happened? He lost. Every single election, everyone will tell you who's watched my show, will tell you that I predicted every single one except some obscure race up in Ohio where I said it's possible that he could lose, and he didn't. And that's what I said. Every other race I called to a fucking T. That's what credibility looks like. I've had to make one apology on this show and retract one story that no other news agency did. And every bit of information that I got led me to believe that the people on Skull Island were dead. Snake Island were dead in Ukraine. And then they wound up show up. And I went online and said, I was wrong. I'm sorry. Here are the photos of the people. I missed the story. I should have waited. And I apologized. One time in 3.5 years. This has nothing to do with anything but credibility. You should listen to nobody if they lie to you. If they tell you what you want to hear, you should stop listening. Here's the funny thing. I just want you to think about this, and then I'm going to go. I want you to think of all these shows. The only one that really impresses me is the Felder brothers, Damani, and the Wright brothers, because those guys, they sell shirts and everything, but they don't compromise their values. They don't curtail what they believe for their listeners, and I love that about them. I don't agree with everything he says. I think he's pretty judgmental against other podcasts. And I think he's got a little bit of a big head sometimes. His brother doesn't. His brother was amazing when he came on our show. But Damani tends to be a little pig-headed sometimes. But what I got to love about Damani, he's lost 100 pounds and he looks great. And he's loving his new family. And he's dad. And now he's going to change. Now he's going to become a different person. He's not going to be so myopic in his thinking sometimes. He's going to become he's a father now. Now he becomes Daddy Bear. Now he's going to start changing the way he thinks. And I love that. I'm so excited to see what he brings, because I think that guy, out of everybody, needs to take off. Because not just because I like his style and he talks at a high level, he's just a good human being and he's going to be successful. Go watch him. Go watch the Wright brothers. W-R-I-G-H-T. No, Wright. R-I-G-H-T. Not like the Kitty Hawk. But if you look at all the podcasts and all the shows out there, look at all of them. There's one thing they don't do. They don't interact with you. They don't take comments. They don't take people who challenge them. They don't invite them onto the show. The one thing I always do is I invite you to come in here and disagree with me. You can disagree with me in chat. You can disagree with me live, and I have no problem with that. What type of confidence does that take? And the reason why people don't call, the people who do call is because they want to have a great conversation and they just want to chat. The people who don't call know that they have no leg to stand on. They know this. And because of that, they don't call in. because they know they can't defend their point. They know because it's not true. And they know that they'll have to say the following, in my opinion. And then what will happen? I'll just simply say, okay, that's your opinion. It's really important to have credibility. It's single-handedly the most important thing in intelligence. And if you don't have it, you never get it back. You've got to have credibility. So that's why I try to do this show. I'm not always right. Do you think Patrick Bet David is a reliable source of info? I think Patrick Bet David by himself is I don't like his co-hosts. I think they're twats. I think the guy on the who pretends middle, who's dresses up, sits to his right is a twat. And I think the guy who's full alt-right is also a hot-headed twat. I think PPD is amazing. I listen to him constantly. I think he's a very smart and intelligent man. I love his brain, and I would love to talk to him. But I don't like his co-hosts. I don't like people who are there to just turn red and just scream and yell at each other. You notice our team, we argue. We don't like each other sometimes, but we don't belittle each other. We don't degrade each other unless we're joking. But yeah, I like him a lot. I do, and I watch a lot of his stuff. Last bit of questions. How do you guys like the new setup today? It was the one-eyed, one-horn flying people eater. Can't even do that. How do you guys like the setup? A little... Okay, I'll answer it. So what do you think of the new setup? A little bit easier? I mean, I kind of like it. It's not like a new office, but a little more intimate. I don't know. I kind of like it. Using my phone as a camera, and let me know what you think. I think it's kind of cool. I got to get the whole thing set up so I could share files and stuff. I got to figure out how to get a second monitor up here. And I don't know how I'm going to do that. If I could attach this monitor so it goes up with my new desk, I have it. That's why I'm standing. Plus, it's more energetic for me, man. I love it. All right, let me read this. I'm a demo hoe. Looks a little empty in behind you. Well, I've got a painting. All right, well, I can add some stuff. I'll redesign it, okay? Jeez. I got my uncle's painting. That's why I like it. All right, let me... Okay. Demo hoe, huh? Oh, I spelled it wrong. How do you spell it again? Nobody's blocked, by the way. If you can't see Facebook chat, it's been having some problems. All right, let me see. Folks, get out and like this. We need 100 plus likes on this thing. We got 120. We need more. Keep it up. Oh, okay. All right. Yeah, I'll talk about that. So, Bubba, hang tight. I'll answer that. Demaho. Okay. Then I'll do Bubba. Bubba, don't leave. I am more curious about what's in the cargo. Why no insurance or company being made pay like train companies in Ohio? Why did we pledge $6 million without investigation being close to done? Why is taxpayer at fault? Did that bridge magically move in ship's way? Well, that's my questions. No conspiracy on illegals, just questions on obvious wrongs. Why captain and other workers? Okay. So I can answer 90% of those questions with one answer. And it's not a bad question, actually. It's a pretty good question. Let me answer it. Because we're in the first 36 hours of this. Right now, we're doing recovery. Right now, they're trying to figure out how to get that ship out of that lane. Once they remove that vessel, they can continue operations. They have to clear the debris, but ships can go back and forth, and that's going to fix a lot of issues, right? That's going to open up $15 million a day in revenue. So it's too soon. If you think that they're not doing profiles and investigations on every single person involved, they are. From the harbor master to anybody who was on security that night, to the workers that were on there, they're checking bank records. They're doing full-fledged investigations on all of this. Department of Homeland is involved in this. NTSB is involved in this from an investigation standpoint. All insurance companies are going to be looked at. I mean, all this thing's going to be done, but it's 36 hours in. So I think it's relatively too soon. to assume that. Why were they empty? Because they just offloaded and they were going to pick up another one. And what they do is containers usually are a 2-for-1 thing. You have home port containers and then away port containers. And it's more than 2-for-1. It's like 5-to-1 ratio because multiple ports are hit. Sometimes they hit Los Angeles. Sometimes they might hit Houston. They might go ahead and, hit other ports along the eastern seaboard. And let's face it, there is a plethora of ports to hit. A lot of these shipment companies will have multiple containers that are leased by the companies that they will offload stuff. But instead of those ships waiting, those ships will usually get their manifest, their unload, reload empties, and go back and pick up another load. And then while that's being processed, those will be stacked and waited for the next ship to come in and use those containers. So it's all a give and take. It's very much like a U-Haul practice. One vehicle leaves, it stays in Grand Canyon, and then they don't have to drive it back to California. Just somebody in Grand Canyon will take that home back to California, and this is the way it goes, and they redistribute and use the same product. So to answer your question, why was it empty? That's why it's empty. Is the insurance company going to be looked at? Absolutely. And there could be some costs associated with this, but ultimately that bridge is insured, and the state will insure that. Now, will that hit the taxpayers' dollars? Yes, of course it will. And that's the way all infrastructure works. But once again, it's also the point where you haven't had to pay on that bridge for 30 some odd years. It's been paid off. And there's also that. So should the government go ahead and charge you for the times you've used that bridge, or charge you for that time that it's been paid off? The answer is no. You don't have to pay for the upkeep outside of your normal taxes. Any of the major changes or upgrades or additions that have been added to it, you ultimately pay, and that's just the way it is. That's an entirely different conversation. Should the company responsible for the accident pay for that? It really depends on the findings of the accident. If it was negligence, then there's going to be a hefty fine attached to that insurance company, and then the state can work with suing that insurance company for those dollars and damages. That's not up to me, and what happens with that, I don't know. So it's just a much bigger problem that I don't have the answer to. But most of your question can be answered with 90% of it is simply because it's too soon. Okay, so more. Trust me, this is this one isn't going to go away for a while. This one's going to be fairly in our face for a while, I imagine. Let me get to Bubba. Where's he at? Trying to find his comment. Okay. See if I can find this here. Okay, so Bubba, where are you at, man? Are you still here? Is Bubba here? I want to answer your question, but I'm trying to look for it. I can't find the damn thing. Your blow-up doll was on the ship. How do I get it? I think your wife was too. You can ask her and see if she can bring it back for you. Ba-dum-bum. Sorry. Sorry about the wife thing. That was just a joke. Military to military. Come on, man. Isn't it a federally funded interstate? I'm sure it is, but it still has state. Well, it's a multi-state throughfare, so it would have to be federally funded, but state-run. So any of the claim that would go through that probably would have to be initiated by the state against the insurance company. So that would be Virginia and Maryland. But you very well may be correct that it would be federal jurisdiction to do that. So that's a really good question. But I know the states do owe taxes and upkeep on that too. It's not 100% federally funded. So it's a good question. I don't know. I don't know the answer to that. I heard this morning that the captain is Ukrainian. I don't know, and I don't care. Kevin or Patricia, it's not that I don't care what you have to say. Is that there are plenty of Ukrainians, and if he was Jewish, it'd be a big deal. If he was Palestinian, it'd be a big deal. If he was Russian, it'd be a big deal. If he was Saudi Arabian, it'd be a big deal. It doesn't matter what he is. People are going to flip out unless he's like, some indiscriminately assigned race and ethnicity, someone's going to care. So I don't know. Yeah, take the outer loop. I said the same thing. All right, so don't know if it's the lighting, Matt, but you look really good. Well, the reason why is because it's a different angle. It's not lighting. It's you usually see me from afar in a two-dimensional way. Well, the camera is at an angle, so you can see physique and everything else. So this is the way, this is what I look like. It's just, you can't, when you're a talking head, it's kind of hard to see that. So, you know, I'm fully standing up. So it's just a different angle. But thanks, Kevin. You look really good yourself. Bubba, let me answer your question. Bubba, what does being Ukrainian have to do with it? Because it's in the news. That's why. Okay. Bubba says, there's one apology I would like to hear, or an explanation of something you may be quite ill-informed on, why you shit on Wounded Warrior Project. Okay. So I'll explain that. First of all, I don't shit on Wounded Warrior Project. Wounded Warrior Project shit on itself. If you look at the overall distribution of proceeds from 2015, 2016, there was a Senate inquiry about how they spend their money and where that money goes to. Wounded Warrior is renowned for spending 60, 70% of their overall intake on marketing, a very large amount of money, giving away free calendars and buttons. And their fundraising wasn't putting it back into the pockets of veterans, not putting it where it belonged. If you take a look at their CEO and the way that his firing was handled, they have done a very large job to restore their image in the veteran community. I have worked with 3,300 501c3s, from Wounded Warrior Project to Hiring Our Heroes, to Green Beret Foundation, to Travis Manion Foundation, to Tunnels for Towers, to the Gary Sinise Foundation, to I just go on and on and on and on and on and on. B2B Sports, it doesn't matter. Nine Line, Grunt Style. There's a shit ton of corporations I've worked with, and I will tell you that WWP has a very low reputation score in the veteran community, especially among 501c3s. Now, they're doing whatever they can to reimage themselves. They're being very open with their spending, and they're being very open with discretionary spending and marketing, and they're cutting back on it and putting more in veterans' pockets. But if you wanted your dollar to go far, giving it to WWP was not the choice that I would make. I think Team Rubicon is a fantastic choice. I give to them often. Travis Manion Foundation, Pause is a great foundation. TAPS, Hiring Our Heroes, Tunnels for Towers, Gary Sinise Foundation. This Travis Manion, I said that. Purple Heart Foundation, Green Beret Foundation, Never Quit is a great one. There's just so many. But I don't find Wounded Warriors to be, they're very much like the Salvation Army. They're very much like the Red Cross. They are a very large organization that has had some questionable habits with how they distribute their charity and contribution donations. So I that's it. So if people ask me, who do I give to? Wounded Warrior is not one that I give to anymore. And I don't know if that will change. It very well may. And they may have done great things for you. And I'm not saying they haven't done great things for vets. What I'm saying is that when you take in a certain amount of money, I expect that to go to veterans, not going to marketing, or not going to fundraisers, or a PAC, or donations to get more leniency for certain things in Washington, or to bend certain finance rules to pay more for your CEO. No, I don't like that shit. If you're a 501c3, you should give your money back to the cause. That's my thought. It shouldn't be a money making. Matthew, your cam shows off your muscle. Yeah, I know. That's why I don't do the front camera doesn't show at all. I look like, sometimes I look fat in that fucking thing. I'm not the same guy. You know, I'm sitting down and I'm scrunched, and you see like right here, and I'm hunched over, you know, but this you know, that's me. It is me. Yeah, I don't hate Wounded Warrior. I think they're trying to rehab their image, but they made some mistakes. Thanks for explaining on Wounded Warrior Project deal. I was confused on who to give to now. You named many left, red, cross-off donations years ago. WW just allowed their overhead and advertisement to get off too large. Yeah, that's exactly what they did. They became a corporation and versus a 501c3 to take care of veterans. And I'm not disparaging them now. I'm not saying they're shit now. I'm saying they have to rehab their image. And 5, 6, 7, 8 years doesn't, nope, not to me. You've got to show, what you should do is you should start doing pro bono shit, and you should be doing some major frickin' rehab on your image by decreasing all salaries of all people, take a 40% pay cut and put it back into the pockets of people. You should not get rich. What are you, 6'4"? Yeah, 6'4". 225, 6'4". Same weight, same height for the last, I don't know, since I lost all that weight. Yeah, everybody looks heavy when they're sitting down. I don't care. I don't care what I look like. I know what I look like, and I know what my body looks like, and I don't need any fluff. I work my ass off for a reason. All right, guys and girls, listen, I got to go to work. I've got shit to do. That Mason Dixon bit was awesome. Thanks for the laugh. Hey, no problem, y'all. Listen, I appreciate y'all watching. We had 350 on last night. We got almost to 200 tonight. We'll be on the night 7:00. I'll be here. Same bat time, same bat channel. I got to get the articles done. I got to get a recorded show done. So thank you guys for letting me do an impromptu show. I appreciate you as always. We'll talk later tonight. Thanks for watching. Bubba, many mistakes were made earlier in their years. They've done a bunch to work to fix it. Check. I don't need to check it. I already know that. I just said that, Bubba. I already said that they're doing, but rehabbing an image takes time to gain trust back. So it'll take time. I will not recommend a company that's taken advantage of veterans or allocated their money to where it doesn't belong. I just won't do it. There's too many great organizations who deserve money to truly make an impact in veterans' lives, and WWP dropped the ball. So it's going to take. There's too many donations that and 501c3s that deserve my recommendation more than WWP. And I'm not shitting on them. I'm just telling you the truth. I would never tell you to give money to the Red Cross. I'd never tell you to give money to the Salvation Army. I'd tell you never donate anything to ARC thrift stores. There's plenty that I wouldn't, Many mistakes, you said it yourselves, many mistakes were made earlier in their years. Not earlier. I'm talking 2015, 2016. And they've had hiccups 2019, 2000. I mean, we can go down, we can just talk about some of the issues they had. They had congressional oversight 3.5 years ago into their foundation. So it's not just in the past, man. It's fairly recent. So, and I always believe when a person has to rehab their image because of shitty decisions they made in the past and they did it for the wrong reasons. That's it. I didn't say check it. Check joinbastion.org. Why? Why do I want to check joinbastion.org? What do I need to learn that I haven't said? All right, I'll look. Hold on. Out of respect for you, Bubba. Joinbastion.org. America's first intentional community. Oh, I see what you're saying. So this is a separate. Okay. But it's powered by Wounded Warrior. So it's Wounded Warrior changing their name. Did you see who their main sponsor is? Boeing. You kidding me? Boeing. Did you look? It took me 5 seconds to find that. Their number one contributor is Boeing, and it's a Wounded Warrior project. So they're changing the name. See, that's the way my shit works, dude. Just bam, that fast. Boeing. You want to know how I know they're number one contributor? Because it's the largest logo on the screen. And I've done websites for all those 501c3s. The most prominent position and the largest logo is the number one sponsor. So it's powered by Wounded Warrior. But it doesn't mean I'm not going to look at it. I'm going to look at it. I'm going to take a look. I'm going to see what I think. But the first thing I saw was Boeing. Do you want to talk about what Boeing's done? Humana. Yeah, it's interesting. So I'll look at it, and I'm not going to speak about it because I don't know anything about it, but it is powered by WWP. See if I can open this. I have got to figure out how to get all this. There it is. Boeing. But that's cool. They've done a lot for, yeah. Do some research on P. Diddy. I'm doing P. Diddy tonight. I'm going to be on Rumble on Deanna's program, and I'll be doing P. Diddy. So I'll be talking about that. I got to be on there at 6 o'clock. So I got to go. I got a lot to do. I got to go. Bubba, I'll take a look at it. No hard feelings. Don't get grumpy with me. I got to go. Appreciate you guys. Thanks for watching. See you. See you tonight at 7 o'clock. See ya. Bye.
Adjusting transmitter output.
This is the Don't Unfriend Me Show with your hosts, Matt, Leroy, Amy, Olivia, and Mike. Geopolitics, military analysis, and election coverage. Coming to you live on the Spreely.tv network and all major social media channels at The Dumb Show. Honest, direct, unfiltered. We can agree, we can disagree. Just don't unfriend me.